the welcome back gift.
Ah, yes.
Now,
Apparently
this
it works now.
is, I would say, not a carrot to come back. This is a removal of a pain point.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
basically what it does is it's available for characters who are levels 10 through 60. And whenever you use it, I presume that it's really targeted characters that haven't been used in a long time.
Yep.
If you use this, it will give your character a set of gear, 22 slot bags, it'll clean your quest log, and it will put your character in your faction capital. So if you've just got a character and you're thinking like, oh, gotta do all the nope, this is just gonna be hit button, reset character, there it is, go. So clearly this is Blizzard just trying to do everything they can to make the getting back into the game experience as easy and smooth as they can. Again, I think they've realized they have a game that fundamentally retains players better because it's a better game than it has been in ages. Now they're just trying to make it easier for people to come join the party.
I think that's pretty fundamental to how it works. Is like World of Warcraft is now a good end game,
Yeah,
but it's a very, 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 very hard game to start playing. It is a horrendous experience in 20 billion different ways. So I feel like this is definitely a case of the more they can do to have returning players and also new players not hate the game violently, the better. That should be like their definitely the number one focus now, I think. I think that's like because it's the whole idea of what's a healthy game, and a healthy game is like people will inevitably leave. Is your game good enough for people to come in? And if the answer is no, then you will die. But if the answer is yes, then come rain or shine, you will live through if more people are coming into your game because they like it and they want to play it. I think that's fundamentally one of the things they need to do, which is cool that they're doing it. Just need to have 20 billion different changes. It always surprises me when people say they are new retail players. I don't know what the incentive is to start playing this in 2023.
that is actually that's a salient point.
It really is.
Because it's like great, and it's been made, our pain points have been filed away. The quality of the game has been improved and improved. But sometimes it's that thing of like, it's not the boat, it's not how hard you row, it's the boat that you're in. And could you maybe think that there's other genres that are doing, real big numbers in the industry now, right? Like other sort of play patterns. And there's a lot of people who are still waiting for the big next MMO. They clearly do not see World of Warcraft as something within their possibility space, like something that actually realistically think they could go back to. And I suppose I just wonder then, how is Blizzard going to get new people into a game like World of Warcraft? The number one thing of anybody that I know is, I'd be so far behind. And of course, to anyone who plays World of Warcraft, we're like, no, you won't. No. You can get a new character started up in no time. But it's not just that. It's the whole like, no, but I've been cognitively left behind. It's more, I stayed back home. I didn't move into the city. It's been 10 years. I feel left behind.
The whole
it's
culture's
like,
not there.
It's not this like, I feel left behind by the game. I feel too far behind. I don't feel like I could get in and literally do the things that I need to do. It's more of a broad, I've missed that boat. Getting into that now would be a lot of effort.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's actually really interesting about FF14 for that. Because the way the story works as the onboard experience, it actually has a really strong early hook, even though on paper it falls foul of the exact same problem of, well, that's a lot of story. It was like, it's all there, you can catch up, and then by the time you're there, you're already so deep in hours played and engagement that obviously like it does an okay job of tutorializing stuff, but like you'll get to the end, you'll be able to go, okay, well, I now have a concept for, I know what a trial is, I'll go do an extreme one. I know what a raid is, I'll go do a savage one. There's that like natural there. There's a lot of culture lost as well. But the game does a pretty good job of having like almost a couple 100-hour tutorial level in that sense, and one that has the emotional hook. So it's like, if people are willing to stick with the early bits that are a little bit rough, you get people actually hooked there. Whereas a WoW, it's like, it goes to the opposite of, there's no barriers, but the point is like, there's no shallow end to the game, which means you're thrown into the deep end and you go, oh my god, what's happening? Whereas in 14 you get to swim, and I think that's one of the things of, it might seem completely counterintuitive if you're thinking about it from the perspective of how do we get people in, throw them into the deep end with a quick tutorial, and that's Like that's what I think most things take that route and take that direction. But there's clearly like a principle of you need people to have their time to warm up and get hooked and have that kind of going. Which is where I think like the new player experience for World of Warcraft needs a massive rehaul. In profound, unbelievable rehaul.
To be honest with you, man, I think this is, and here's the problem, because what I think would be the most effective is something that is clearly not feasible. Because it is, to say it is a heavy lift project is not even putting it,
Yeah.
And because you reacted like that, which means you know what I'm about to say. It is something to the degree of this is WoW 2 inside WoW. As in, we have updated the world to be the current day, the new starting point. In the way that in Star Wars, all the fans, they reference dates as, years before or since the Battle of Yavin. It's to move the year 0 up to being now, instead of being an RTS game for boomers. I'm really sorry I said that, or I played it too. Yeah. Right? It would be doing that, bringing all the zone stories back up to speed, completely revamping the new player experience, and taking the winds of Dragonflight, applying them wrote large, and really trying to have this like big new, this is the line in the sand. You can start WoW again here. And they frame it like that, like now's the time to start. Because anything that's just a continuation of the story, like if Yrel comes busting through that portal,
well, like
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. That's fine. You know what I was going to say, and you all know what I'm going to say. But if I don't say it, I'm not on the hook. Ha! If she comes busting through that portal, everyone's going to be very excited. Everybody who knows WoW and plays WoW. And that's probably going to be enough, right? It'll be enough to activate a lot of people and get people back, but it wouldn't get as many people back who, feel totally culturally left behind by the game. I suppose it's just one of those challenging things, right? Your game comes out, years pass, years and years, 20 years, 2 decades. It's a long time. And it's like with anything, there's cohorts, There's waves, there's trends in the games industry. How many trends has World of Warcraft survived through? And I suppose it's like when you are 20 years old, but still as large as WoW is, how do you keep it going? And we've got other examples, like some of the MOBAs. People have been playing some form of Dota for over 20 years. Or I guess 20 years. Between, of course, Dota, the mod, and everything.
Probably about 19, 20 years now.
Yeah, that's how long people have been playing Dota. People have been playing Counter-Strike for about as long.
Yep.
But Counter-Strike's always been Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's like chess. That's the game. It's like football. You don't need a new one every year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know obviously they're doing Counter-Strike too, but it was, World of Warcraft, unlike those games, it's a very content-driven game. Whereas Counter-Strike and those MOBAs are more of a competitive sport.
Yeah, they're
because when I play them, me playing WoW is me sitting down to play a game to progress and get some stuff done. Me playing League is like five-a-side with the boys.
Yeah.
Something I've not done in a decade.
Yeah.
But, and that's why a game like League can be so sticky, because it's just in the same way that people have watched football for, I don't know, many years. That's how League is treated.
Yeah.
Whereas a content-driven game like WoW, it's bloody hard to get people back again.
And even then, it's like you have this issue where it's the same thing for, because you go, okay, well, yeah, you can just start playing a competitive game at any time. There's even that issue there as well, where you're like, okay, well, how do I catch up with all of the way people think about this? And that's something I've seen a lot of chatter about with Street Fighter 6. And Street Fighter 6 is the best Street Fighter game. I mean, I think, people have different opinions on this, but a lot of people this might be the best Street Fighter ever. This is extremely good.
Just going to go get a sip.
Yeah, it's got extremely good ratings and stuff. But it does have this fundamental problem of people have been playing fighting games since Street Fighter 2 existed. How am I ever supposed to catch up? How am I supposed to catch up cognitively and experientially to where people are today? Because I'm going to be left behind. And that's what happens for the aspirational side of it as well. Which means obviously you've got a lot of issue of how am I ever supposed to understand everything? And the answer is slowly over time. This is an investment. This is the same thought process applies to why would I bother picking up playing guitar when people have been playing guitar for 30 years? And the answer is, well, there's standing on the shoulders of giants, which is getting other people to help you and understanding from their understanding, catching up to where they are pretty quickly. Yeah, it's like, I know fighting games are different skill ceiling, but it's the same kind of idea of, wait, what the hell's going on? How am I supposed to ever catch up to that? I mean, obviously you say, like Rafa says, no one knows frame stuff. Yeah, but there's still like years of understanding there going on. And that's the same with WoW in PvP and PvE, where you look in and go, like someone earlier said, imagine explaining Plater or weak auras to people. And that's honestly really goddamn hard. Like, it's really hard to do that. But then you look at how Street Fighter 6 actually did it and why it's going to be one of the... And I'm going to say maybe Blizzard should look specifically at Street Fighter 6 as the blueprint for this. We'll see how that goes in the fullness of time. But Street Fighter 6 is designed as a game where you don't have to touch anything that's scary for at least like 20, 30 hours. And it's the same with how FF14 gets new people onboarded, where you don't have to do anything, especially now with NPC dungeons, you don't have to do anything that puts you out of your comfort zone for hours. Street Fighter 6 has, as Vortrax points out, a modern control scheme where it is just, hey, you hop into the single player mode, you're too scared to fight, so you hop into the world tour of the single player mode, and it immediately, for chapter 1, it locks you into modern controls, where it goes, you have to use modern controls, and modern controls, you've got auto combos. You don't have 6 buttons, you've got 4 buttons. You've got light, medium, heavy, and a special. They will do loads of shit for you and choose the right move at the right time a lot of the case, and it's just, oh, that's perfect. Now, like, it wasn't perfect for me because I've been playing fighting games since, I think, quite a lot since I was maybe 18 and picked up BlizBlue. That's really, like, I'm not great at them, but I'm, obviously I would be the one to go, okay, I'm going to play classic controls and this single player is going to be easy the whole way to the end because I actually understand the fundamentals and stuff. And that's a case of, okay, and then obviously like Dragon Ball FighterZ did the same with its assist stuff. Raph is talking about dynamic style where you can just mash and do crazy combos against your friends. It's like they've got all of these different considerations. And then there's World Tour mode itself, which is an open world RPG Street Fighter. Just that's there. And you roam around Metro City and go to all different places over the planet and you do all this stuff and like learn more about how the game works. You've got little bits of progress, you've got gear that you put on, and they're not extremely like important. It's not like, oh, you've Destiny Street Fighter, you've ruined it. It's like it's very tiny values and it's just a little bit of you get slightly stronger, slightly more health as you go. It's not important, there's no big synergies. It's just a little bit of customization as you get better. And I find that it is brutally easy because none of the NPCs provide even a semblance of a challenge. Unless they're named NPCs that kick the ever-living shit out of you and are way stronger than you, but it's a fighting game, you can win if you're just extremely good, and it doesn't matter that they do 4 times your damage and 4 times your health. You can actually grind it out. So it is like perfectly, this is the sandbox for you to pick up this game at your own pace. You get to try out all the different fighters, you get to try different things, you get invested, you get hooked. And then when you're done that, you're able to go, okay, well, maybe you're halfway through and you start to play with classic controls or whatever. Maybe you don't. And you go, I'm going to go online and I'm going to play modern controls. I know classic is a little bit more technically better in some cases, although people are finding that because of speed of reactions, modern's actually better for a lot of characters, and that's a whole thing. But just controls type differences. Okay, well, the point is you've got hours and hours and hours of Street Fighter 6 before you ever have to do anything scary, before you have to do anything technical, before you get put into the crucible and someone fucking drop kicks you to death, or someone immediately is like, all right, well, there's an optimal combo for 50% of your HP, or someone who's been playing Street Fighter since 2 and they know they have all the footsies and you can't get anywhere close to them and you're just destroyed. It's like before you
those games terrify me.
Yeah, before you even get into the here's the bronze or rookie league players, you've got so much more like time to get engaged. And I think that's where Blizzard should be looking, going, well, it works for FF14. People get hooked in the story, and then they're like, well, I'm here, I might as well play the MMO. Obviously, there's elements intertwined, and you can obviously, you're not locked into the story. But I think that's where they should maybe be looking, is how do people do this? Because they will naturally look at PoE. They'll naturally look at Destiny. They'll naturally look at Warframe because they're similar games. They're in the same genre of repeatable content. And I think they should maybe look over at FF or at SF6 and go, what's the modern design like techniques and standards being applied to get new people into a game? And I think the answer is give them a big sandbox to have a load of fun and let them jump into the deep end at their own leisure or tiptoe in. And this is where they completely failed, right? Because they went for, okay, it is BFA. We'll have BFA story as the entry point because
Confuse.
BFA, like, it's a pretty good experience. It's very pretty. It's all right. It's like the first campaign that wasn't, you need to have all this knowledge.
Flying back to Tierhold? Or what? Sorry, flying back to Freehold?
Yeah.
Like, Terror Guard sounds beautiful.
It really is.
Gorgeous.
Bralis is a gorgeous city.
Yeah.
But then you go into Freehold because that's the first dungeon, and you immediately have some form of, I don't know what happens when you combine a hernia and an aneurysm, but that's the gameplay experience of Freehold for your first time. It's way too technical. It's way too like complicated. The routing's all over the place. That is an advanced end level dungeon, and you're in there at level 10. And maybe you're a tank and you don't know what you're doing. You probably aren't a tank. You probably DPS because you don't want to be a tank. Especially because tanking in the campaign would suck. So you're just like, there's some dude wrecking the place. You don't know how to follow him. You don't know what's going on. It's a nightmare. They need like a full suite of tutorialized dungeons that get harder over time. But that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Yeah. I don't know. I guess you're right when you say WoW too. Like, it needs to be that.
You almost just want to get that time in the room with your bar and be like, oh, listen, bud. Yeah. Me and you are going to go to Bobby, and we're going to beg Bobby. We're going to convince him that this is going to be a very sane thing. Let us build the team to rebuild Azeroth, please. Hard to do. We actually do have a video coming up about the Azeroth world revamp topic. Sort of world revamp done three ways, including the one that we think is the way it realistically would happen. If they were doing it, as an example, if Yrel pops out through that portal, I've got to imagine that the Eastern Kingdoms will be more important, and it has a clear alliance and horde sort of home location. But I think it's an interesting topic. It's all fun.
So there's a car says people reach a point where they're willing to look at external resource to improve. Yep. The question is, how do you get them to that point? Because people who are playing World of Warcraft now will only get to that point because they've been convinced to by friends, or maybe they're part of the sweaty like esports gamer that the MDI and the AWC appeal to. And that's fine and all, but I think like that's a very small portion of the overall player base, especially for the one World of Warcraft is going for. Because obviously you look at how much content they're making in Angles, that is clearly not for esports gamers whatsoever, and is for the more casual, broader MMO novelty collection experience kind of gamer. There's no way to get them into the game, and that's what they need to do, or need to focus on. I think they've got a lot of things they need to focus on, to be honest. Not as many as they used to, that's for sure. There'll be a lot of progress made, but it's like if I were sitting scratching my head as maybe less as Ian and maybe more as John Haidt, those would be the kind of things I'd be mulling over day to day, is how do we get loads of people to play World of Warcraft for the first time and then go, hell, this is good. Because Exile's Reach is good in isolation, but that's like an hour.
It's too mid.
It's like an hour in tutorial, and it's kind of like it's a wee bit too soft and mid, where it could really be like
we need once again to go near to Diablo. We need the Megan Fox in lingerie saying, "Come play now, my lord." Remember fucking Ebony? All of those weird. No, obviously being a bit facetious, but like they need some big propulsive thing that makes you just go, "Oh, I want to go into this world." And I figure Exile's Reach, it's just a little bit too generic, and Exile's Reach doesn't match the fantasy. This is like a sort of a narrative design problem, because what's the first decision a player makes in a game like World of Warcraft? It's what race they play. So to then throw them into a starting experience that doesn't reflect the aesthetics of the thing that they chose to play, I think that actually is missing a trick to a degree.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Exile's Reach is a better tutorial, but
Yes.
9 times out of 10, I would say, just dump someone in Teldrassil. Like, just dump someone on Teldrassil for Night Elf. There you go, easy. That's gonna be better.
That's going to give you more
that's
Night
better.
Elf than what you're going to get.
It's also going to give you a better atmosphere and more time spent kind of chilling and relaxing, as opposed to like the narrative quality is a bit ass comparatively, but
That's where I'd almost wonder, are there just some, maybe those starting zones Blizzard could revamp. Maybe what they could do, this would be too funky. Because you could revamp all the starting zones, but if you did, the problem is all those starting zones are rooted in the Cataclysm. So you could revamp them all to today, and maybe revamp that plus their first major zone, which would mean Tirisfal Glades, Elwyn Forest, Durotar, stuff like that. Darkshore.
Yeah,
you could like revamp them plus them, and then I don't know, Chromie's the end being like, "Woo, this." I don't know why Chromie's now Mickey Mouse. This is as far as we got. Woo! Because it would be really weird. Let's like, you can't just be like, "Oh, look, player, we've recrafted this. We've fixed Teldrassil. We've fixed Darkshore, we've fixed Tirisfal Glades, there's content in it, it's brought up to the modern day, you've had a really immersive starting experience that reflects the decision of the character you wanted to play, and then Chromie appears and says, haven't made the rest yet, you're going back in time, son."
Yeah.
Then you're going to be very confused. That's that weird thing with Chromie time. Chromie time, it's like, it is the big smart Gigabrain way to deal with a problem for existing players and for players who are already familiar with the WoW universe, but you take that completely stripped of context to a player who's new to the game, and they're thinking like, what? I go back in time when I level up? What? Like, it's going to be very confusing. Versus a FF14 like situation where, because that's all framed as going through the MSQ, they don't really see it like that. Because it's basically just going through a big JRPG.
Yeah, cognitively, it's very, you understand it. You go, okay, well, I'm at the start of the game. I have to get to the end of the game. Okay, I can get that, no worries. Whereas now it's like, you're in the middle of the game. Now you have to go to the start of the middle of the end of the game. Which end? Do you want to go to Legion where it all ended? Or do you want to go to the Cataclysm where it all ended to begin? Do you want to go to Wrath of the Lich King where it was in the middle? You're like, what? And it's like, it's nicely framed these days now, where they're going, hey, what is, like, Chromie, I don't know if you've spoken to Chromie recently at all, or is it live, or is it the PR? I think it's live, where she actually, like, explains what expansions were and shows you the cinematic and stuff, and that's all very nice. It's a wee bit difficult like a band-aid on a band-aid on a band-aid, but it's still, like, they're kind of getting there. But there was someone, was it Akaria, said something that I think was actually a good thing to think about. Because race starting zones, that's an expansion's worth of work, like. Or, well, not quite, but it's a lot of work because there's so many of them. And then you have to make it all lore friendly and time friendly. But Akaria said, I think class focus has more success than race focus. And Legion will tell you that's pretty much true. Now, I don't know, it's a little bit like,
one of them is player express. I think there's a difference between the player choosing how they want to express themselves, and I think that's the class decision, but then the player choosing their identity, I feel like that's a bit more the race decision.
No, I think that class is gameplay and identity, and race is just identity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I think that the race identity is like the larger one.
Yeah. But
because it's like, I am a night elf paladin.
Yes.
Not a paladin night elf.
There are certainly cases where I think there's a lot of players that doesn't quite matter to as much, especially if you look at how a lot of other games in the genre have kind of expanded that, where you go, races, especially now, where it's like races, there's not much of a difference between races and games. It's like you look at, obviously, FF14 as a job-based opening. And even then, it's kind of, it sort of doesn't. It's got a very neutral opening. It goes a little bit into your the starting class, as you say, because their jobs are 30. So I think it's like, yeah, class focus. The important part of that, I think, isn't that it's better as a choice for players' identity and how they first onboarded the game. I think the important part is there's only a handful of classes. There's like, what, 14 now? It's 13 now. I can never remember the number. But you don't. Demon Hunters are already sorted.
Yeah.
And Death Knight's already kind of sorted. And Evoker's already sorted. So you've got like 10, 11 classes to deal with. Whereas races, you have more than that. And that's a lot more complicated because of the individual lore. Where you can just go, make class starting zones. And then do some race stuff after that. I think that might actually make sense. DK is not sorted. I know DK is not sorted. I'm saying being woken up at the Boulevard or going back to do the Wrath opening is better than some others have. Oh dear.
Well.
Yeah, we went on a tangent there, I think.
Yeah, but an important one. Anyway, new player experience in WoW. Big things.
Yeah, I just looked back at what we're on, news item we're on. I was like, oh god. That was fun.